Good morning, everybody. Directors of a company is the nucleus, and so for this reason, let us share some of the important aspects regarding the board of directors. The procedure for appointing the board of directors is prescribed in the Companies Act of 2013 and the respective articles of association. Accordingly, the board of directors can be appointed by the company. The members of the board of directors are called as the directors of the company. The board oversees how the management serves and protects the long-term interests of the shareholders who do not directly involve in the management of the company. Board formulates policies of the company and establishes an organization setup to implement those policies in order to achieve the objectives that are mentioned in the memorandum. With this introduction, let us get into more details about the board of directors. Board composition refers to the number of directors who can take part within the board of directors. Section 165 mentions this maximum and minimum number of directors who can be in the board of any company. Accordingly, a public company should have at least 3 directors in its board. A private company should have at least 2 directors, and one-person company should have at least 1 director in its board. Regarding the maximum number of directors, any company can have a maximum of 15 directors in its board. However, if any of the company wants to have the directors over and above this 15, then it can be done by passing a special resolution. Whereas in case of Section 8 company, which is a non-profit organization, can have more than 15 directors even without passing a special resolution. The number of directorship. The directorship refers to the maximum number of companies in which a person can act as a director. The Companies Act prescribes a maximum of 20 directorship for any person, which includes 10 public companies. That is, a person can be a director for not more than 10 public companies. Here arises a doubt as to whether a director of a private company, which is a holding or subsidiary of a public company, will be included for counting these 10 public companies. Of course, yes. The director of such a private company is included for the meaning of the above mentioned 10 public companies. If the members of any company wants to reduce the directorship of its director, then it can do so by passing special resolution. So, the special resolution paves a way for reducing the directorship of its members. If any person acts as an alternate directorship, it is included for counting the maximum of 20 directorship. But a director of a dormant company is not included for this maximum limit of directorship, because a dormant company is almost a sleeping company which does not take up any business transactions, and as such its directorship is not at all counted for the maximum number of directorship. Here comes the most important aspect of the board, that is board committee. A board committee is a small working group that is identified by the board. It consists of the members of the board members only. It is established for the purpose of supporting the board's work. Committees are generally formed to perform some work requiring expertise. Thus, its members are expected to be expertise in a specified field. Committees are formed as a means of improving the board's efficiency and effectiveness in areas which requires focused, specialized and technical discussions. The decisions and the recommendations of the board committee are placed before the board for information or for approval. However, the ultimate responsibility of the board's activities are held with the board of directors, and it is the board of directors who prescribe the roles and decide the structure of the board committee. The Companies Act provides that the mandatory committees of the board are prescribed in the Companies Act 2013 for certain category of companies. Those committees are the first one being the Audit Committee, second, Nomination and Remuneration Committee, third, Stakeholders Relationship Committee, and the fourth is Corporate Social Responsibility Committee, which we are going to discuss now in a nutshell. The first one is Audit Committee. It is the main pillar of the corporate governance mechanism of any company. Company Act 2013 provides that Board of Directors of the following companies are required to constitute an audit committee. The companies are every listed public company and all public companies having a paid-up capital of 10 crore or more, are having turnover of rupees 100 crore or more, are having in aggregate the outstanding loan, debenture and deposit of 50 crore or more. And these companies have to establish an audit committee. This audit committee comprises at least 3 members, the majority of whom must be the independent directors. Independent directors are those who doesn't have any influence over the powers or activities of the company. Of the members, the majority and the chairperson should have financial literacy. Financial literacy means the ability to read and understand the financial statements. So the chairperson and the majority members of the audit committee should be able to read and understand the financial statements in the right sense. Regarding the number of meetings and the quorum, the provision is that the audit committee should meet at least 4 times in a year, having a gap of not more than 120 days between the meetings. Regarding the quorum, this committee meeting shall have at least 2 members or 1/3 of the total number of members, whichever is greater. The second mandatory committee is Nomination and Remuneration Committee. This committee helps the board in the preparations of election of members of Board of Directors and in handling matters relating to the employment and remuneration of senior management. The responsibility of this Nomination and Remuneration Committee are mentioned in its policy itself, and this committee shall consist of 3 or more members of non-executive directors, of whom not less than half of them are independent directors. Regarding the quorum, the meeting shall have at least 2 or 1/3 of the total number of members, whichever is greater. The nomination and remuneration committee meeting shall be held at least once in a year. The third one is Stakeholders Relationship Committee. The companies where there are more than 1000 shareholders, or debenture holders, or deposit holders, or any other security holders, then the board of such a company shall establish this Stakeholders Relationship Committee for each category of the security holders. And this committee shall comprise one chairperson and the other such members as is decided by the board itself. And this committee shall consider the grievances of these security holders and resolve their grievances. The chairperson of this committee or any of the authorized member of this committee may attend the general meeting of the company. And the fourth and the last committee is the Corporate Social Responsibility Committee. The companies having a net worth of 500 crore or more, or having a turnover of 1000 crore or more, or having a net profit of 50 crore or more during the previous financial year has to establish this Corporate Social Responsibility Committee. If at any time a company ceases to be covered under these three thresholds for 3 continuous years, then such company need not have this committee. This CSR committee comprises at least 3 directors, of whom one must be independent director. Based on the recommendations made by the CSR committee, the board shall approve the CSR policy for its company. And this CSR policy is included in the board's report for the financial year, which is also uploaded in the company's website. The board ensures that the activities mentioned in the CSR policy are undertaken by the committee, and preference is given to perform these activities in the local area where the company is functioning. And if in any year the committee fails to spend the money towards these CSR activities, then the board has to mention the reason for not spending the money in its board's report. The amount to be spent for this activity shall be at least 2% of the average net profit made during the 3 immediately preceding financial years. So these are the provisions relating to the Corporate Social Responsibility Committee. And with this session is over, and let me thank you for your patience listening throughout the session. Thank you all.